What are the best settings for FragPunk? Well, let me tell you at least what I play on. Hey guys, Nightfall here, and settings videos are always hard to approach. There's not just one best setting for everyone. This is because people play on a huge variety of systems, everyone's playstyle is different, and everyone just has different preferences. So no one is ever really going to have the exact same settings unless you're the exact same person playing on the exact same system. But just to give you sort of a jumping off point of sorts, let me walk you through some of my settings and how I have them set up. The first half of this video will be walking you through my video settings. The second half will be my controller settings because yes, I play on controller on PC, get over it. And I'll throw in some general settings in the middle as well. So if you're on a mouse and keyboard, only the first half of this video will apply to you. But if you're one of my controller people out there, you might want to stick around for the entire video. So before we jump into the settings, if you enjoy this kind of video, please press that like button. It helps a ton, and also consider subscribing to the channel for all your FragPunk updates, and even becoming a member by clicking that join button so you can support the channel. But let's go ahead and start talking setting. And actually, before I start explaining all of these different settings that I have set up, let me first by giving you the rundown of the system that I play on. Currently, I'm running an AMD 7800 X3D processor with a 4070 Super graphics card. Now, both of these do have a light overclock on them, nothing too crazy, so if you have a similar setup without an overclock, you shouldn't be too far off. If you have a lesser graphics card, maybe you're still on a 30 series or even a 20 series, or whatever the AMD equivalent of those are, you might want to try lowering some of these settings. And also keep in mind, I do play on a 240 Hz monitor, so 240 FPS is my main goal here. Quality comes second. So first, let's start with the video settings, and easy stuff out of the way first. You see my screen's model number. I have a 27-inch 1440p 240 Hz monitor, and I play on borderless 16:9, no stretch resolution here. My field of view, I've played with this for quite some time now through different games, and it's never the same from game to game, but in this game I feel like 95 is what works for me. Sure, more field of view is good so you can see more, but keep in mind that also zooms out the target that you're looking at and ultimately shooting at. So I feel like 95 is just a nice middle ground. But moving on to the filter, and this one I have set to vivid just so the brighter colors stand out, and to me it just makes it look more visually appealing. Now, I do also use a couple NVIDIA filters on my game, so it might still look different than yours. If you want to know what filters those are, let me know down in the comments. The post-processing intensity I leave on normal. Menu frame rate I leave at 60 because, well, you don't need your GPU working full time in between each round. 60 FPS will do the job. Nobody cares about how fast those cards come up or how smooth they look, as long as you can see the card. My gameplay frame limit says unlimited, but I actually have it capped to 250 in my GPU settings. Brightness is at a 1 and 1.5 for sharpen. Next up, I have VSync off, as I do in just about every game I've ever played. I don't need to lock it at my monitor refresh rate when I can just limit it at the same thing. Plus, leaving this off helps with input lag. Now for this next anti-tearing setting, I'm running DirectX 12, so I leave this on, but if you do have DirectX 11, I'd recommend turning it off, and you can read the effects it has on both of these on the side over here if you want to pause. But let's move on to the next section. Visual simplification. This just turns down a lot of the detail. Having this on could make you spot enemies better, I guess, but it's not really something you need to have on. On the other hand, if you're struggling with maybe getting some more FPS, turning this on could help squeeze out a couple extra frames. But now we get into the actual video graphic settings, and now I set mine to custom and just completely ignored the smooth versus ultra. I do run it on DLSS 4 using ultra performance and set to prioritize speed. Frame generation is a setting only available on 40 series graphics cards and up, and I leave this off because all it is just extra AI generated frames. Again, if you're struggling with low FPS, you might experiment with this a bit to see if it helps, but I like my frames like I like my women, real. I set the low latency mode to NVIDIA Reflex and turn the next two settings to on. Now, the rest of these settings, I won't go through each one individually. You can just copy what I have here. The biggest thing to note is that I do have ray tracing turned off, because turning that on would drop my frames per second from around 250 down to like 150 or 160. So with all of those settings the way they are, let's go ahead and run a quick benchmark to see what we're looking like. Now, like I said at the start of this video, a lot of these won't be the best for you either visually or performance wise, And you can see with this benchmark results, the lowest I dropped to was 230 frames, but stayed pretty steady at 249. So let's say you're playing on a 144 hertz monitor. Your goal should be to maximize the FPS and get 144 FPS. So if you're already getting 144 FPS and you want to up some of those settings and make it look nicer, maybe even turn ray tracing on just to see if it can keep up at 144 FPS and it won't tank it, then go for it. But ultimately, the less work that my graphics card has to do, the better, but I also want it to look nice. Now let's talk some general settings. I'll go ahead and scroll through all of these so you can at least see them, but I'm just going to highlight a few. So camera shake during sprint, this is a must turn off. There's no reason to have your camera shake while you're running unless you want more immersion or realism in the game, but we're not here to be immersed. We're here to win. The other setting I want to highlight here on this page is the flash eye guarding mode. This just turns your screen gray instead of white when getting flashed, so you don't get completely fucking retina burned at 2 in the morning. The rest of these settings I'll scroll through so you can see just about every setting that I have. You could pause it when you need to, copy where you want to. And then my custom crosshair, which isn't so special, but it works for me. You can either copy these settings individually, or you can head over to my Twitch chat and use the !crosshair command, and you'll get the import code. Also, while you're over there, you might as well leave a follow. And if I'm live, just make sure to say hey. But now let's get into the controller sensitivity settings. Just a word of warning here, I am not 100% set on these just yet, but it's been working out so far. I might up the sensitivity just a little bit once I get more comfortable with it, but this is where I'm at right now. My look sensitivity is at 1.6. Invert y-axis is off. If you play with this on, you're a very strange individual. Camera y-axis sense is 0.5. Then I have the camera sense set to custom per optic ADS, and this is super important. It might all look the same or not vary by a whole lot, but it makes the world of difference. Everything on here I have at 0.5 except the 4 and 6 times scopes I have set at 0.7 because it'll help you with those quick flicks when you're sniping. My input curve is a 1.2, movement stick dead zone is a 0.2, and view stick dead zone is 0. Now, what's weird about this game and a couple others that I've played recently is that I know my controller doesn't have stick drift. I can test it on just about any controller app you could download on your PC to test stick drift. But for some reason, when I first load in, my character just starts looking to the right like I do have stick drift. But moving on, my ramp up delay is 0.2, ramp up to max time is 0, extra yaw when not aiming is 0.5, extra pitch when not aiming is 0, and extra yaw and pitch while aiming are both 0. If you want explanations on what each of those are, either get a dictionary or look at the in-game definitions of them. But basically, yaw is looking left and right, and pitch is looking up and down. My cursor sensitivity I have set at 1.3, but I usually just use my mouse in between rounds to pick cards and stuff like that, as it's just faster for me. And then the controller vibration is set to off. And last, but certainly not least, and currently the most useless fucking setting in this entire game right now, controller aim assist. I have it set to on, but let's be honest, that's just all hopes and dreams at this point. Who knows when or if it will ever actually work, or if they even still want to put it in the game. But I leave it on just in case. So there you have it. These are all my settings for FragPunk at the current moment. I really hope this helps out some of you out there, and maybe for my controller players or the players waiting for console release, this will help you even more. And these settings have gotten me to Diamond. Now, I'm only Plat 1 when I'm saying this right now, but I'm confident that I can make it to Diamond, at least with these settings. So did I cook with these settings, or do you think that they're absolute hot trash? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.